Have you had a moment like this? Your phone is already open, the message already typed, your finger hovering over send, and then you close it, not because you hadn't figured out what to say, but because of a feeling hard to explain. Now isn't the time. Or showing up here doesn't feel right. You don't send the message. You put the phone down. We don't usually pay much attention to this moment. It's too small. Nothing happens. Life goes on. But I recently read a detail that brought it back to me. A hostess in Provence once came to Heidegger's door. She walked up, stood in front of the door, and then didn't knock. She turned and quietly left. Heidegger later mentioned this and said, "Sometimes what isn't done carries more power than what is said or done." The first time I read this, I sat with it for a long time, not because the line was hard to understand, but because what it was actually saying was completely different from what I'd assumed. We usually call this kind of behavior a sense of boundaries. Your space, my space, I don't cross that line. It's a good phrase. It describes a clear-headed, measured kind of courtesy. I know the rules and I respect the boundary. But in that moment, when the hostess stood in front of the door, I don't think she was thinking about rules. She didn't stop because this is his private time. I shouldn't intrude. She sensed something, that on the other side of that door, something was happening. A train of thought, a stretch of quiet, a state she couldn't name but could feel. And her arrival would break it. These two things look alike, but they aren't the same thing. A sense of boundaries is knowing the rule and then following it. What the hostess had was sensing a presence and then yielding to it. One runs on awareness, the other runs on sensitivity. Heidegger said that what isn't done can sometimes carry more power. The real weight of this line lies in this. It acknowledges that restraint itself is an action, and possibly a higher kind of action. What we've been trained to value since childhood is what you did. You spoke, you showed up, you expressed yourself, you left a trace. Presence is something built up out of action, piece by piece. But that moment of not knocking, in which absolutely nothing was done, became the very point where all the philosophical weight condensed. Because that not knocking first required setting something down. I want to. She may well have wanted to see him. Maybe there was something she wanted to say, or she just wanted to catch a glimpse of him. But there, at the door, she set aside her own "I want" for a moment, and let another perception move to the front. That afternoon behind the door mattered more than her own arrival. This isn't suppressing yourself, isn't self-sacrifice, isn't mere politeness. It's a very high state of being more attuned to what someone else is going through than to your own entrance. Most of our social training teaches us how to show up, how to express yourself, how to be present, how to make sure others feel you. Almost no one ever teaches you how not to show up, how to not send that message when someone needs quiet, how to not rush to fill a silence, how to walk into a room, sense that something is already going on inside it, and quietly step back out. This kind of not showing up isn't coldness, isn't distance, isn't not caring. Quite the opposite. It requires an extremely high degree of attention to the other person's existence. You have to truly sense them first, before you can know what your presence would mean right now. The hostess's back, as she turned and walked away, wasn't regret, wasn't retreat. It was the best gift she gave Heidegger that afternoon, an afternoon left uninterrupted by her arrival, and that gift was one he didn't even know he'd received.